people that attend church regularly, we looked at their, if they didn't fill out a commitment card, we looked at their contributions for 2024 and said, okay, let's assume it's gonna be the same. Now that's a jump of sort, because if you look back the last 2 years, the actual commitment has been reduced a little bit. And I think part of that's inflation and everybody's being hit by that, but that's what's going on. John?
How many other family units are there besides the 45? Are we talking the people who didn't, is that another 45?
No, it's actually a little bit more than that. It's about 60.
600, somewhere
Yeah,
around.
we're right around 100 is what we consider normal worship to be. Yeah. Yeah. Well, not giving units, giving individuals. So some of those are husband and wife together, some are separate, you know, but yeah. Okay. Any other questions, Mark? All right, I think we've covered this already. Budget's tight for this year, assume some growth. If we're not meeting the budget, further reductions will be required. And you know, when are you gonna hear about that? I'm hoping that we hold on until June or July, and if something happens before then or at that point, we'll do another town hall, I'll tell you what's going on, and we'll make reductions that we have to make. Okay, the monthly budget numbers, what do they show? And we've talked about some of this already. If you're giving to a special donation based on your envelope or whatever, then that's where that money goes. Otherwise, it goes to the general fund. Income variations, we've talked about that with members contributing at different times, annually, quarterly, monthly, snowbirds, so forth. And like your home expenses, our maintenance expenses and everything vary by month too, and that happens. As an example, right now, you may have heard some issues with the piano last couple Sundays. And I don't understand it, but the bottom line is we got to get it serviced. And while we've got some money in the budget for that, I don't know that we have enough. We'll have to wait and see. But that's just, you know, part of the unexpected expenses that can occur. Questions? Now, somebody mentioned this earlier. What's required for us to meet the budget? It's really not a tremendous amount in a lot of respects. Who brought up the coffee? Okay, there you go. So if all worshiping members, I didn't include all members because we have some people that only show up at Easter and Christmas and whatever, but the people that are here every Sunday, if everybody gave an additional $625 per week, we'd make up to $32,000. Or, if you like pizza like I do, okay, $27 a month, like one pizza, that'll make it up. Okay? This increase would allow us to make up the $32,551 budget gap.
Wow.
Okay? So, you know, you might say, Don, what are you asking me for? I'm asking you to think about, can you increase your contributions to help make up that gap? And realize some people can, some people can't. So, you know, when you're looking at your own situation, you know, can you help a little bit more? Because I'll tell you right now, there are going to be people in our congregation that's too much of a jump for them, and that's fine. But you know, we still need to get it done because this is our church, and we want to keep it the way it is. Questions on that? Another question that I've had asked at different churches where I've been on council is, okay, well, what is the average contribution? The average contribution for our church is $52 per person per week, $226 per month, $2,716 per year.
Is that really per person or is that per giving unit?
No, it's per person. So it's assuming 100 people, taking their contributions and dividing it.
Is that what we're using now as our membership? 100?
No, that's just what I'm using as far as people contributing, because our membership is different, Karen, but you got people that only show up twice a year or 3 times a year. I'm not counting them because they're not really, when we looked at their contributions, they're not active, they're not really affecting the budget.
You're talking about active.
I'm talking about active people that are in the church sanctuary on a Sunday morning. Yes?
Aren't you exaggerating that number a little bit? Because you're looking at 100 people giving, and there are not 100 people giving. There are maybe 100 people in the church, but sometimes it's a family unit that gives can, you know,
Bill,
that like too.
you can look at it any way you want, okay? The way I looked at it, and the easiest way I found out to explain it to people was, you got 100 people sitting in the sanctuary on an average Sunday morning. Last Sunday, we were over that. This Sunday, we were below that. We're gonna be up and down. Summer's gonna be lighter. Winter and fall is gonna be higher. I assume that we're running about 100, which is about what we are. If you take the contributions that we're receiving, and say whether it's a family unit or an individual, it works out to those numbers. Now, you know, you could have a family unit that's giving more, you can have a family, you can count husband and wife, you know, that's fine, but, you know, then double it, okay, because that's per person is what the average is. Yes, sir?
Any chance you got a median number?
No, I did not do a median number, and I didn't do it deliberately, Bill. Or Gil, I'm sorry. Because there are some people that are contributing zero, and I didn't want to skew the results that way. Yes, sir?
The 52 a week, is that going to the church or part of that going to?
That's general fund.
Okay, so
general
that's
fund.
one of the other special.
Yeah, it doesn't count the other special. So people could be donating more than that by giving the special fund in addition, and that's fine. What I counted was just the general fund, the money that comes in that allows us to pay for spouse, mortgage, all that kind of stuff. Yes, sir?
Do we, the bishops, does the church in general fund them, or only what we as individuals put in, designate to the
The church,
bishop?
the church does contribute to the bishop ministry. We did reduce it some this year. But as far as individuals contributing to it, that, if you write on their bishop ministry, then that's where it goes.
And the church gives $100
Yeah.
in addition to whatever the congregation donates.
Everybody hear Cindy?
No.
Church is giving $100 a month, you said?
$100 a month, used to be 200, it's now $100.
Yeah. $100 per month from the church versus 200 before the reduction.
That includes, that is the second, and those numbers, is that including his salary and benefits for his staff there?
Okay,
No,
so
there is
confusing
no
because we got two bishops. We've got the bishop of the synod and we've got the bishop family.
Okay, I thought we were talking about the bishop family ministry. We're not talking, we contribute nothing to the bishop directly. Okay, so just the bishop ministry. Thanks, Cindy.
Mary, does your number include contributions that we make?
No.
Anything that we collect, like now during the month of April, I will send in May, and then I will add $100 to it. So anything that, if you say admissions, that goes directly to wherever you want it to go. It doesn't go into us paying our bills.
And when you look at these numbers, it does not include money that you're doing that with. So if you're donating an additional $100 a week to the bishop ministry, then that doesn't add, because we don't see that money in general fund. That doesn't affect the church budget. Any other questions on that? Okay. Okay, what's our plan? What are we gonna do? And the answer to that is, we're gonna ask you for your help. We're gonna keep you informed of the progress. What are we doing? You know, we're trying to be as transparent here as we can. If anybody has any other questions, we'll open it up at the end. I actually planted a couple questions with the council to make sure we cover all the bases. There is gonna be a mid-year statement that you will be receiving from Cindy. She's gonna put it together, and she's gonna show, what did you give for 6 months 24? What have you given for 6 months 25? If you had a pledged amount, she's gonna show what that was. So you'll see that at 6 months. That'll be the real measuring point for us to know, are people contributing what they said they were gonna contribute? Based on my prior experience at other churches, okay, and what I've seen historically with this church, I'm concerned that that number could be less. Okay? That's historically what we've seen. I mentioned to you when we did the dinner, we saw big increase promised, and we actually had a fairly good size reduction. So we'll see what comes out at 6 months. That'll be the real tell point for me to look at it and say, what do we need to do? And then we'll look at it from there. We're gonna provide, yes?
I have a question about that giving I do it electronically every month.
Mhm.
And, I basically have gone through, driving, and they charge $35 for the giving. And I went to the church thing, our church thing, and it automatically flipped me to private money and charged me again $35 per month for giving.
Too much.
Okay, I didn't set up the highlight, but what happens is, what I see on my end when those donations come through, is that there is a small fee that's charged, for using that service. I'm not sure what the $35 fee is, but every transaction, and it's a fee that's based on whether you're giving by credit card or whether it's coming out of your banking account, okay? Credit cards have much higher fees. If you're paying your pledge with a credit card, it's a much higher fee than if you're having it taken electronically.
I pay right out of my checking account.
Okay, well, Bill, one of the things we're gonna look at is trying to have we've got Pastor Anna Lugo, we've reached out to her to talk about how people can contribute more effectively. Because one of the big things you can do, and I think most people in this room are there in some way age-wise, but if you have an IRA, as an example, if you donate directly from your IRA to the church, that's non-taxable income to you.
If you're a certain age.
Yeah, okay. 70 and a half, okay, is the first cut-off point, then 73 or whatever your required minimum withdrawals are. But, you know, that's one thing that people can do, and if you're in 10 or 15% tax bracket, you save money with that, whatever it is. But we're gonna ask Anna to help us with putting together other tools that people can use. A simple tool to use, Bill, is if you just contact your bank and have them mail a check to the church. It doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, I can do that. I do
So-
that for a couple other bills,
Yeah.
but I have to initiate it on my computer to pay it.
Well, you can set it up to do it automatically monthly or whatever you want, depending on
Well,
frequency.
yeah, you can do it automatically.
So there are options, but we're gonna get into some of that with Pastor Lugo when she's available to do it. She's actually been given that same assignment by the Senate to put that together. We're also gonna request your prayers and thoughts on what we talked about today, because that's the only way we're gonna get there, is, you know, it's our church and we have to fix it. So. There's an example of the tax savings we talked about with the IRA. So take a look at that.
Can I add a positive thing to this? I've had over the years in class and said, well, I don't give, I'm saving on my taxes.
Yeah.
Well, if that's not the reason you give, add the $45 to your $300.
Yeah, you can do it either way. You know, so, good point, Bill. I mean, it's one of these things that some people may not realize that tool is even there, but it's there, it doesn't cost you anything. You just have to talk to your financial person and set it up. All right, one more slide and then we're done. Questions? Anything? Council, did I miss any of the areas we were supposed to discuss? Karen?
There was discussion earlier about putting in an electronic sign. I'm assuming that is on hold because of the expense.
Good question. And the answer is yes. An electronic sign would be nice. We've also talked about putting an electronic screen up here where the bulletin board's at to communicate better with the congregation. We're not going to do anything that we don't have to do right now. That includes maintenance, anything else. Because frankly, I don't want to have to defend to you that, well, we thought this would be a good investment and, you know, we spent money here and we're still running short on the budget. We're keeping everything at the minimum possible level until the budget thing gets addressed and we're comfortable that we know what the income is, we know what the expenses are. We do know the expenses. Mary and Cindy do a good job with that, but projecting the income is a little bit more hedgy.
Good program.
So, thank you very much. Other questions? Go ahead.
I just have a quick request with Cindy. For those of us, when we send out the mid-year statement, for those of us that aren't here during mid-year, is that something you can scan to us or email us or something?
If I know that you need it, yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, and we
email me. It's office@rocketagenslutheran.com. That way I know. But if you do that, I will do it.
For Mary and Cindy, is it easier for them to get contributions once a month, or once a quarter, or a week? How much more difficult for them to get a
It doesn't matter. I mean, honestly, if you have a pledge, it's like a memorized transaction. So I just hit a button and it goes in. It's only when it varies from month to month. So it doesn't matter. Whatever's most best for you.
As everybody is getting ready to leave, a couple of clarifications I'd like to offer. I don't know how many of you think that a retreat is a recreational thing. It's a 2.5-day working session wherein we plan the upcoming year and review the business of the church. The other thing I'd like to offer to you is that we are in one of the most rapid growing areas in the United States. We have the opportunity for this place to grow. And in order for it to grow, it requires an invitation. And how do we invite people to come to our church? The most effective way is you individually. But beyond that, it's how we reach out to the public to make them aware of this place. And when we see visitors, and over the course of the past year, we've seen an average of 14 visitors a week. How are we interfacing with them? To someone's earlier point, make it a point to reach out to them when they are in church. And the last thing I'd like to offer to you is that in the 11 years I've been a part of this church, there has never been a financial hurdle that has not been met once it has been made known. That was the purpose of today, is to let you know of the financial challenges that are before us. I have every confidence that you will respond however it's appropriate for you. And finally, are you done? Can I offer a closing prayer? Let me offer a closing prayer. Gracious God, we are grateful for what you have given us. You have been generous to us in so many ways, individually and as a church. And while we may think we're in control, we need to recognize that we're not. It's you. You gave us this church. You want it to succeed. You want us to fulfill the mission that has been given to us, and that is to go and make disciples of all nations. So encourage us, Lord. Give us the positivity that we need that attracts people. And don't let us worry about how Satan wants to divide us with negative news. So we thank you, Lord, for this church. We thank you that Jesus rose on our behalf. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Emily.
I was going to ask you, do you want me to, you said you were going to be gone the end of May? Okay. What do you want me to, keep track to?
Hang on, maybe it was in your office? Probably November.
Yeah.
Yeah, after the leaves all picked up. Because I like to carry on.
I didn't think there was stop call. I didn't think there was stop call.
I'll look at what you told me. My brain isn't on this one.
Can I help you carry?